Hi, I'm Cassandra. My name is as long as my hair. My hair color is pretty unusual, especially when I use my nightlight. Look, it turns blue. The thing about my hair is that it's been unusual ever since I was a child. It's always been thick and long. When I was 10, my parents cut it short. And what do you think? It took less than a month for it to grow back. Magic, everyone said. Dang it, I thought. By the time I turned 16, I accepted the fact that my hair was an anomaly. It looked spectacular and made people notice me. Was it pleasant? I guess. Was it convenient? Nah, it was like a cactus jacket. It always got stuck everywhere. It also clogged the drain all the time, and my poor dad had to deal with it. This is nasty. Like wet worms. My classmates liked to tie my hair to a chair and then watch as I tried to move and laughed. It was like my hair had a life of its own. You're in for quite a confusing story today. But before we begin, subscribe to the Private Diary channel and hit that like button. I got a job as a waitress once. It was a disaster. On the third day of work, I served a customer soup with my hair in it. It was enough to knit a sweater. Of course, I was fired on the spot. After that, I got a job as a personal assistant to the local business goddess, Miss Goldie. She owned the best beauty salon in our city. Miss Goldie fell in love with my hair as soon as she saw it. Cassandra, your hair is a treasure! What a rare color! But things went downhill when I turned around and my braid hit Miss Goldie in the face. I started to fuss and tried to fix everything, but only ended up ruining her expensive makeup. Surprise, surprise, I got fired. After that, I started to work at a bowling alley. I liked it there, but my colleague Dan drove me up the wall. There he is, busy trying to become one with the couch. I didn't mind the fact Dean was weird and gloomy, or that he always carried his tarantula named Monday around with him. I didn't even mind it when he turned on his favorite heavy metal band, Guests from Hell, when we had no visitors, even though their howling reminded me of a party in hell. However, I couldn't stand how rude he was. Dean talked to me like I was his worst enemy. But the worst thing was, I suspected that Dean was stealing money from the cash register. There were no surveillance cameras in the bowling alley, so it was hard to prove it. Hey, are your friends going to pay? Are you going to shut up, mermaid? My name is Cassandra. Don't talk to me like that. He ignored me and went off to play with his buddies. They looked in my direction and laughed. When my shift was coming to an end, Dean crept up to me from behind. Ow! Did you pull out my hair? What are you talking about? Why would I ever touch you, jerk? I only tolerated Dean because I needed that part-time job. I didn't want to ask my parents for pocket money. My family was going through a rough patch. Dad was a professional slacker. Mom always provided for us all. She was a news anchor, but a year ago, she quit because her hair was rapidly turning gray. The hair dye didn't last long enough to completely hide it, and she all but stopped leaving the house. What's wrong? Stella's coming to town soon. She's been my frenemy since high school. Now that she's married some rich guy, she can't wait to brag about it. I don't want Stella to see what a loser I've become. Oh, adults are sometimes worse than children. Why was the bowling alley manager calling me so late? I had a bad feeling about it. Hi, Mr. Butler. Is something wrong?
Cassandra, there's money missing from the cash register again.
When I left, it was all there. Dean must have taken it.
I don't care who's to blame. Fix this or you're both fired.
Dean would regret it. How dare he set me up like that? I'd almost fallen asleep when suddenly I saw an ominous gleam of scissors above me. Hush, it's just me. Cassandra, I have an idea. What if we made a wig out of your hair? I want to look younger when Stella gets here. Jeez, whatever. Just don't scare me like that again. In the morning, Mom cut my hair to my shoulders and left to get a wig made out of it. Meanwhile, I went to work because it was the weekend and I had no school. What was wrong with that guy? I swear he probably ate bugs for breakfast. I needed to find evidence that Dean was stealing money from the cash register. Each employee had their own locker. I opened Dean's, and what I saw sent a shiver down my spine. There was a voodoo doll that looked like me inside. Dean even stuck a few of my hairs in its head. I knew he pulled out a few the day before. What is this dark magic? Were you trying to curse me or something? At least I'm not rummaging through other people's lockers. You're sick in the head, and you're a rotten fish. Before I knew it, we started to throw everything we could get our hands on at each other. One of us smashed a screen with a bowling ball. That was it. The manager didn't even ask who was to blame and fired both of us. I was upset, but at least I knew I wouldn't have to see that psycho Dean anymore. A week later, Mom went outside in her new wig for the first time. Only Dad and I knew it was a wig made out of my hair. Our neighbors squealed with delight when they saw it. I don't see a single gray hair anymore. What's your secret? Let's just say I invented an elixir of youth. Share it with us. I'll pay you well. Me too. I have a business idea. I'm going to create a line of hair cosmetics. We're gonna be rich! Do you want to lie to your customers? Dear, if my cosmetics help women feel beautiful, then there is no lie. Sometimes adults need fairy tales even more than children do. I didn't like it, but Mom had already decided she was a business shark. It didn't take her long to create a brand of hair cosmetics. To my surprise, it became wildly popular. Even Miss Goldie bought it for her salon. Dad was happier than anyone when Mom's business flourished. Now I won't have to look for a job. After some time, Mom's friend came for a visit. She seemed full of herself. Her clothes looked stylish and expensive. Stella, you look amazing. You've gained a couple kilos, haven't you? You must be eating well. And I see you're still confusing rudeness with a sense of humor. Who is that next to you? Louis, my first husband's son from his first marriage. Mom asked me to show Louis around town. Dad crawled back to the deck chair and pretended to be a dead possum. He wanted to be as far away as possible when Mom and Stella started to brag about their successes. Louis turned out to be a good guy. His father wanted him to be friends with Stella. That's why they came to our town together. We were having fun until I saw Dean. He was apparently working as a janitor at the mall now, and some bullies from our school were laughing at him and littering on purpose. I can't just stand by. Relax. Dean deserves to be treated like that. I told him about Dean's creepy voodoo doll, the money he stole, and the fight that got us both fired from the bowling alley. Look how creepy he is. He's like a bad parody of Count Dracula. Looks can be deceiving. That was so corny, dude. When we came back to the house, my dad looked terrified. What's wrong? Are zombies coming? Worse, your mother and Stella are fighting. Why didn't you stop them? I'm afraid of those women. Louis and I had to handle the situation. I'll tell everyone that your business is fake. Stella did just that. She posted a video in which she said that my mom wore a wig made of my hair, and her miracle cosmetics were just a cheap fake. Miss Goldie was so furious that she sued my mom, and the deceived customers even protested in front of our house. Give me my money back, you liar! I knew that nothing good would come of Mom's idea. Louis called me a day later and invited me to the mall. What my stepmom did was unfair. I'm sorry she ruined your mom's business. It's her own fault. She shouldn't have lied about an elixir of youth. What are you gonna do now? Dad and I are already looking for jobs. We might have to sell our house to cover the legal fees. The police came to our house the next morning. They wanted to talk to me. Yesterday, someone robbed Miss Goldie's salon. They broke the surveillance camera and stole money from a cafe. We found evidence there. This hair. It couldn't have gotten there by accident. Miss Goldie claims that this is your hair. The cops took a hair off my comb and took it to a lab to compare it with the hair they found at the crime scene. The test results confirmed that it had been my hair in the safe. However, I had been with Louis when the robbery took place. He and the surveillance cameras at the mall confirmed my alibi. Mom was the next suspect. After all, she was wearing a wig made of my hair. They arrested her while the investigation continued. What a pleasant sight! I think I'll stay in town until the trial. I didn't believe that Mom did it. Dad couldn't handle the stress and was completely useless. Unlike Louis, who said he would help me. Who would want to frame you or your mom? Dean, he's always hated me. That moron must have wanted to get back at me for getting fired from the bowling alley. He even had my hair on his voodoo doll. We went to the police station and told them about our suspicion, but the cops weren't going to budge because they thought they'd already found the culprit. What do we do now? We need to find the stolen money in Dean's house. The police will have no choice but to believe us then. Will you help me? Do I have a choice? No. Follow me. It turned out that Dean lived in a poor neighborhood with his blind grandfather and little sister. Dean must be taking care of them. He's not that bad. I'm not going to feel sorry for him. We waited for Dean to leave. Then we sneaked past his grandfather and sister and made our way into his house through the door in the backyard. While I was going through Dean's drawers, Louis rummaged through his closet. Then he suddenly slammed it shut and turned red as a tomato. We should leave. I don't think Dean robbed the salon. He's not guilty. Why are you so sure? What's in the closet? It's a secret. I can't tell you. What? Show me! No. What the hell are you and your boyfriend doing in my room? We're looking for the money you stole from Miss Goldie's salon to frame her. Is there a party in your head that your brains didn't get an invite to? Get away from my closet. No, I need to know what's in there. What the heck is this? Wait, are you in love with me? From the moment we met, I thought you hated me. I was rude to hide my feelings. And this isn't dark magic. The needle in your heart symbolizes Cupid's arrow. I was feeling desperate and hoped that after I did a ritual, you would take the first step. I'm an idiot. Well, that's original. Dean, if you'd just been nice to me, everything would have been different. I've already realized that I'm not your type. It's fine. I'm sorry about your mom. We need to get her out of prison. Mom didn't do it. Let me help. wannabe detectives. The three of us tried to figure out who could have planted my hair at the crime scene, and then I remembered that Mom had ordered her wig at a special shop. That's where she went. The man working there was old and gray. He couldn't be the criminal we were looking for. To my surprise, he looked at me in amazement. "Few years ago, your parents sold me this hair. It's such a unique color. I would recognize it anywhere." "Right, when I was 10, my parents cut my hair. What happened to it afterwards?" "I made a wig out of it. A children's theater bought it for the role of Rapunzel." Our investigation was finally getting somewhere. We came to that theater and asked the director who had access to Rapunzel's wig. "Only two people, the female lead and the costume designer." First, we watched the actress, feeling like real spies, but she turned out to be an ordinary, arrogant diva with a ton of fans. I don't think she could have a motive. Why would she rob the salon? Then, we followed the costume designer around. She turned out to be a very strange woman who treated wigs like her children. She even read them fairy tales. However, she didn't do anything else that could be called suspicious. That's it. We're at a dead end again. But then, a woman came out of the theater's back door in the Rapunzel wig. She looked around furtively and walked away on unsteady legs. That's our main suspect. We followed her all the way to the bowling alley. Once there, she climbed in through the window like a professional thief, and we called the police. The cops arrived right as the scoundrel was crawling back out with the stolen money. When her wig came off, everyone saw that it was actually a man. Later, we found out that he was the brother of the director of the theater. He borrowed costumes and wigs to disguise himself and commit crimes. His favorite place to rob was the bowling alley. No cameras, no alarm system. Not that much money either, though. That's why one day, the jacked Barbie robbed Miss Goldie's salon. He hadn't meant to frame me or Mom. It's just that we got unlucky because the criminal wore a wig made of my hair. Of course, as soon as the real culprit was caught, Mom was free to go. I've had time to think, and I've decided that gray hair makes me look distinguished. You know, prison was an interesting experience. I'm going to write a book about it. We'll be rich! Yay, I won't have to work. You guys are perfect for each other. Miss Goldie decided not to sue. Mom's clients started to praise her cosmetics again. Their hair started to grow like crazy. Was it a miracle? Not at all. Just a good product out of natural ingredients. Mom created something useful by accident. Stella left town after embarrassing herself. Lewis stayed a couple of days to hang out with Dean and me. Despite everything, this trip was fun. Give Dean another chance. He's not a bad guy, and appearances can be deceiving. I was starting to see that. Dean had an unusual way of seeing the world. I decided that we would start with friendship and see what happens. Your hair grows so fast. Yeah, I'll never be lonely thanks to it. I've always wanted to try something. Wow, you can be so sweet. There's still a lot you don't know about me. Let's give them some privacy. Do you think that Cassandra and Dean will make a great couple too? Tell me in the comments.